Tired of the endless parade of here are the 5 best books on this topic, or this famous person swears by these 20 books that you absolutely must read? Let's be honest. Another list of must reads is probably just going to collect dust on your desk while you scroll social media under the guise of productivity. Book recommendations are kind of like gym memberships. They sound inspiring, but let's face it, they rarely lead to real transformation. What you really need isn't another list. You need actionable, no fluff takeaways from someone who's already done the heavy lifting for you. This is where this episode comes in, because I'm not just going to hand you another book title to feel guilty about not reading. I'm here to unpack the practical insights from a game changing book that will transform the way you think, lead, and grow. Today, we're diving into Jonah Berger's book, Contagious, a blueprint for understanding what makes ideas, products, and messages go viral. So let's skip the fluff, dig into the gold, and put these insights into work. Ready? Let's get started. Welcome to the Good Leadership Podcast, where we engage with esteemed thought leaders and explore research-backed strategies and techniques that empower leaders at every level to achieve meaningful results that drive lasting change. Now, the goal, Berger states, is not to shout your message to everyone. It's to get the right people talking about it. And he has a great framework to help you do that. It's called the STEPS framework, STEPPS. And no, it's not the latest fitness app, but it will get your ideas running laps around the competition. So the first part of the STEPS framework, the S, is for social currency. If sharing your idea, your product, or story enhances someone's status or makes them feel good about themselves, they're far more likely to spread the word to others. Think about the last time you bragged about something. Maybe that secret speakeasy you found with the $20 cocktails, or how you snagged Taylor Swift tickets. Did it feel good? Of course it did. Did you share it? You betcha. So let's give you some pro tips on how to boost your social currency based on Jonah's book. First is remarkability. It's got to be remarkable, unusual, extraordinary, worthy of attention. And not just worthy of attention, what you want to convey, but worthy of remark. Take, for example, a small blender company called Blendtec. They turned a boring product into a viral YouTube sensation with their Will It Blend campaign. They tossed marbles, iPhones, even nails into the blender, and it all blended. And they did it with a $50 marketing budget. Now that's remarkable. Number two, game mechanics. Have you ever felt proud of the Starbucks reward gold card or that Duolingo streak? That's game mechanics at work. People love achieving things, even if it's as trivial as collecting points for coffee. These mechanics also spark friendly competition, and suddenly you're not just earning points, you're getting ahead of your friends. Social comparison is a powerful motivator. Use it. And finally, scarcity and exclusivity are like the social currency steroids. Think about when Disney had the Disney Vault strategy. Remember that? It made us all desperate to own that Lion King DVD before it disappeared into their vault. Or think about Taylor Swift fans showing off their Eras ticket pre-sale. These strategies make people feel like they're insiders, part of an exclusive club. And here's the kicker. When people get their hands on something scarce or exclusive, they want others to know about it. It's saying, hey, look at me and what I'm able to get. I'm an insider. Number two in the STEPS framework are triggers, because top of mind is tip of tongue. I have a question for you. Do interesting products get talked about more than boring ones? Well, common sense would suggest yes, but actually it's no. Interesting products do receive more immediate word of mouth attention than boring products. And that reinforces what we talked about in regards to social currency. Interesting things are entertaining and reflect positively on the person talking about them. But interesting products did not sustain high levels of word of mouth over time. They didn't get any more ongoing word of mouth than boring ones. Why does this matter if a particular thought or idea is top of mind? Because accessible thoughts and ideas lead to action. Triggers are those mental bookmarks, those cues that make people think about your product or idea. Remember that song by Rebecca Black called Friday, voted the worst song ever? It's a song we love to hate, but you can't escape it every single Friday. Thanks, Rebecca. This also works because triggers are tied to context. KitKat had a brilliant marketing strategy. Their sales were declining. So what did they do? They decided to link their candy to something everyone does, or nearly everyone does, every single workday. Coffee breaks. It was genius. Coffee, chocolate, they go great together. Now, every time you take a coffee break, you're humming, "Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar." It's evil, but it's brilliant. Our goal isn't necessarily to prove that we're interesting all the time or funny or intelligent. We just want to say something to keep the conversation going. Anything that can prove to the other person that we're not a terrible conversationalist. So, what do we talk about? Whatever is top of mind, that's always a good place to start. And here are some pro tips. Context is key. Connect your brand, your product, or your personal brand to everyday moments. Cheerios, they own breakfast. Pop Tarts, well, they're still waiting to be loved. And uniqueness stands out. Peanut butter and jelly, classic. Peanut butter and pickles, please don't. The next step in the steps framework is E, and that stands for emotions. If we care, we share. Emotion is the gasoline for virality. When people experience strong emotions, they want to tell others how they're feeling. Marketing messages, unfortunately, tend to focus on information. People think that if they just lay out the facts in a clear and concise way, it'll tip the scales. It won't, trust me, or trust Jonah Berger. And that's where emotion comes in. Rather than harping on the features or the facts, we need to focus on the feelings, the underlying emotions that motivate people to take action. A couple pro tips for emotional connection based on the book are: focus on those high arousal emotions, not the low arousal emotions. Now, arousal is a state of activation or readiness for action. The heart beats faster, the blood pressure rises, and some emotions fit this bill, like anger, anxiety, awe, amusement, and excitement. Other emotions are low arousal, like sadness and contentment. Try to avoid those. Now, you can also employ the three whys technique to find the emotional core of an idea. Write down why you think people are doing something and then ask, why is that important? Ask it as many times as needed. Each time as you do this, note your answer. You're going to drill down further and further toward uncovering not only the core of an idea, but the emotion behind it. Now, the next letter in the STEPS framework is P, and that stands for public. If it's built to show, it's built to grow, according to Jonah Berger. Because if people can't see your brand, they can't share it. Visibility is crucial and is easier for people to notice and to recognize your brand, then it's going to spread easier, right? The famous phrase, monkey see, monkey do, captures more than just a human penchant for imitation. People can imitate only what they see others are doing. Take Apple, for example. They nailed it with the white AirPods. When every other brand had black earbuds, Apple said, hey, let's stand out. Let's charge $150 while we're at it. Genius. Some pro tips to increase the public visibility of your professional or personal brand. One, behavior residue. Is there something that generates social proof that sticks around even when the product is not being used or the idea is not top of mind? That's behavioral residue. Think of these reusable branded bags of different companies or those I voted stickers that take over Instagram every election day. Or you can also think of giveaways, testimonials, reviews, or swag, anything that keeps your product, your brand in people's mind after they're using it. Second, the shapes, the sounds, and a host of other distinctive characteristics can also help products advertise themselves. Make your product instantly recognizable by changing some part of the packaging. Love 'em or hate 'em, Crocs are unforgettable. Pringles come in a unique tube. Computers using the Microsoft operating system make a distinctive sound when they boot up. Designing products that advertise themselves is a powerful strategy, especially for small companies or organizations that don't have a lot of resources. Even when there's no money to buy television ads or a spot in printed publications, existing customers can act as advertisements if the product advertises itself. Now, the next P in the STEPS framework is practical value. News you can use. People love sharing tips that make them feel helpful. Think of how to clean your microwave with lemon slices, right? Because nothing screams I'm an adult like realizing your microwave is disgusting. Practical value is all about offering content that solves a problem, teaches a skill, or makes life easier in some way. So, what makes something seem practically valuable enough to pass along? Well, one, if it creates an amazing discount. When most people think about practical value, saving money is one of the first things that come to mind. getting something for less than the original price or getting more of something than you usually would find at the same price. Promotional offers that seem surprising or surpass expectations are more likely to be shared. And useful information is another form of practical value. Helping people do things they already want to do or by encouraging them to do things faster, better, or easier is a great place to start. Look at the content you've been emailed over the past few months or see similar patterns elsewhere. Articles about sunscreen brands that Consumer Reports rated the best, tips to recover quickly from exercise, or hints for that great pumpkin carving design around Halloween. All these things are useful because practical advice is shareable advice. But make sure your info, as you're sharing it, stands out. So you need to make sure that you package it in certain ways. Make it concise and accessible using simple language, 3 to 4 points at the max. And make sure to consider your audience when you're sending this information out. Some stories or information have broader audiences than others. You might think that the content that has the broader audience is more likely to be shared, but there's a problem with this assumption. Though you might think that, it's in fact not true at all. The narrower the content, the better it's going to be, and the more likely it's going to be shared because it reminds people of a specific person, friend, family member, and makes them feel compelled to pass it along. So while broadly relevant content could be shared more, content that is obviously relevant to a narrow audience may actually be going viral at a greater frequency. So to integrate practical value into your personal brand, focus on creating content that provides immediate benefits to your audience. Share quick tips, checklists, or even frameworks that your audience can apply right away. Now, the final part of the STEPS framework is that final S, and that stands for stories. Humans are wired for stories, and a great story doesn't feel like an ad, it feels like gossip. And who doesn't want to share a little gossip? Subway's Jared campaign, pre scandal, wasn't about sandwiches, it was about transformation. Everyone thought, wow, maybe I could lose weight eating fast food for a month. Spoiler alert, you can't. Pro tips for storytelling: make it relatable. Forget about your corporate mission statement, tell a story that feels human, and make sure it has valuable virality. Make sure your product's message is central to the story. Overall, here's the blueprint for contagious ideas. First, you want to attract your audience by using triggers and public visibility. Then, you want to engage your audience, spark emotion, and tell a story. And then finally, you want to benefit your audience by offering social currency and practical value. Jonah Berger's STEPS framework isn't just a guide for making products contagious, it's a roadmap for building a personal brand that people can't stop talking about. I hope this episode has provided you with valuable insights. If it has, I ask you to share it with someone who would also benefit from it. If you've been enjoying and gaining knowledge from this podcast, then subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can find all the previous episodes of the podcast and additional learning resources. You can also subscribe to the podcast on Apple or Spotify and leave up to a 5-star review.